rejuvenate a little bit. And luckily, I'm in a position where, if I don't have any income coming in for a while, we're okay. So at least I don't have those stresses, thank God. But so many other people do. And I know this is a trying time. So, it's tough for everyone, man. But what I'm trying to do is do those things I haven't been able to do because I work so much, and take advantage of buying opportunities. I've been able to pick up a bunch of Bitcoin that I wasn't prior. The stock market's going to provide a lot of opportunities for people, if not now, in the very near future. And luckily, I've done the right things over the last few years to put me in a position where I could hopefully financially take advantage. But again, this is just a bad situation for everyone. Yeah. We're all living with it. It's just how bad is it for each individual?
Yeah, we've already got people calling you the legend, and that you are, my friend. We are now live on YouTube. We were having a little bit of trouble. I was actually logged into the wrong YouTube account, so we're fixed now. We're also up on Periscope. We really haven't started the show, so welcome, everybody. Are you watching shows? Are you reading books? Are you getting laid? There's 16 hours every day for you to kill. I see for sure you're tanning.
No, being Greek, it don't take much sunlight to get me color. And it's been a little sunny out here. I've caught up on reading. I've watched a lot of TV, but I want to be more productive with my time. So I've been able to go back and organize my office. And what I'm going to do, to be honest with you, is use this to really read a lot of stuff that I've been putting off, and also dive into more details as far as sports handicapping. Because again, I don't have the time to follow sports as much as I would like. Because, when you bet it, you're always looking for the next betting opportunity. So unfortunately, I don't watch sports. I don't get a chance to watch them. And now's a chance for me to dig in a little more and learn a little more about MMA, prepare a little more for football, for baseball that's coming. So again, take advantage of the downtime.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of babies made. Coronavirus babies 9 months from now. And they're even going to have a name. Gianni, what we're going to do today is we're going to ask you some questions, listen to some amazing stories, and we're really going to, more than any other show, delve into how to be a winning bettor.
That's the one thing I could honestly, I don't know much. I'm not an educated person. I'm not a very smart guy. I'm never going to be the smartest guy in the room. I realized that young enough to surround myself with smart people. But with that said, there's two things that I think I can do pretty much better than 99% of the population. I could win playing blackjack if you deal me the cards, and I could turn a profit betting sports enough to take care of my family, set up my future, and constantly beat the book year after year. Those are the only two things I'm good at. Nothing else. I'm just being honest.
You tan really well, Gianni.
I can't teach you how to tan. I think that comes with like pigment of your skin or this or that.
Let's get into it, brother. First and foremost, I want to start with how you got into this industry. You're a colorful guy. I don't think kids sitting around at 16, 17, 18 are dreaming about being a professional sports gambler or a sports handicapper. Maybe you were on your way to law school and detoured to the left. Tell us what brought you into this industry and really your first experience in handicapping, whether it was buying from Jeff Allen or Stu Feiner or whether it was becoming one yourself.
Yeah, I went through all of that. Real quickly, I grew up in Philadelphia, where I always joke I had a bookie before I had a driver's license. So gambling's it's accepted. We were pitching quarters by 6, 7 years old, flipping baseball cards. Gambling was just part of the everyday life of growing up in the streets of Philadelphia. So there was no surprise that I was already betting sports and filling out football pools by 13, 14 years old. I got a job in an Italian deli where my boss was kind of connected. And one of his good friends would come in. He was a bookmaker. And I remember betting with him. I bet Tyson versus Spink. So this was probably 87, 88. And I lost, I remember. And he said, instead of betting, why don't you start taking your friends' bets and just turn them into me? I'll give you a percentage. Make a long story short, that's what I started doing. I created a good enough book that I was making decent money for the age I was at. Eventually, I got infiltrated by a sharp bettor that proved to me there are people that actually win. And I was offered the opportunity to join them and actually be on that side and start betting as opposed to booking, because I had so many connections by that time with other bookmakers. They knew I could find out.
Right.
And real quickly, what happened was I started working with that group that became infamous with the Tim Donaghy scandal that are out of Delaware County back in Philadelphia. And I was simply moving steam. And what that means is there's certain guys that were winning long-term back then. In football, it was Billy Walters. In baseball, it was the Kosher Kids. Well, these groups need to get down. And when they place a bet, they're going to move the whole market. So how do they get enough money down before the market moves? The way you do that is by using guys like myself and hundreds, if not thousands of guys like me to bet simultaneously at the exact number they want. So that's what I was doing. And just betting, finding bookmakers, getting a percentage, and moving steam, having access to winning information. And that's pretty much how I got into the betting side of it. That eventually brought me to Las Vegas. And I was a runner on the strip where I got buy orders. And I went up and down the strip filling these buy orders from different groups and guys that won. Eventually, offshore market exploded. My job was eliminated. They didn't need any runners. So what was I to do? I was introduced to someone in the pick selling industry. I crossed over into that realm unknowingly how the industry is run. And I was taught incorrectly. I was an adult, so it's my fault. But with that said, I had no idea what the industry is about, how it's run. And so I started doing that. And I feel guilty that I was promoting the way I did, but I don't feel guilty for selling picks back then because at least I had access to winning info. I wasn't a winning bettor back then on my own, but I had access to winning information. So I had something of value.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because at that time period, the handicapping industry was just such a bad industry with bad people and a lot of con artists. And, you know, I mean, how did you navigate through that, Gianni? Because I'll tell you, I know you well and I know you personally, and it doesn't sit right for you or for me, the whole con job of this industry, especially back in the late 80s and 90s. I mean, I almost don't see how you weren't caught up in it.
Even today, it's sad just how the industry is run. And listen, you don't get your license to sell pick. So it's not like you have to become qualified, prove you've been able to win in a particular sport for a long enough time, or overall for a long enough time that you should be able to sell your information. We don't have that platform in our industry. So we got to self-police it. And most do a bad job of that. Myself included early on, because I was under the impression that people want to buy big games. They want primetime games. They just want the action. You can't help them win. This is what I was being told. That, you know, the difference between a winning bettor and a losing bettor is one bet out of every 20, meaning if you go 10-10 long term, you'll go broke because the vig will eat you up. But if you go 11-9 every 20, you could make a living and never have to do anything again.
That is so well said, man.
Yeah, and I was under the impression that most people can't grasp that concept. So sell them what they want. And even though I had this information, I wasn't using it. Like, I was getting all this steam because I was still having to make money till I built a name in the industry. So the way I did it was by getting accounts for these groups and guys that won, and I would take a percentage of the account. That gave me access to look at what these guys were betting. So I, and I was making money. I had access to all that info that I was able to use. But again, I was at the point where I was promoting games of the week and games of the year and nonsense like that. And fortunately for me, that's taken a big change, a big turn. And hopefully now people can see that, I'm just trying to provide my experiences and knowledge so that hopefully bettors can get to where I got quicker, because it took me a long time.
Yeah, and he's Gianni the Greek. And, Gianni, it's funny you say 11-9 makes you a winning bettor, 10-10 makes you a losing bettor. And yet, we talk all the time on these shows about people doing parlays. And, you're not going to win any parlays going 11-9, which just proves the point that a losing bettor is a parlay bettor.
Yeah, and that's why, again, these Q&As, educational content is what matters most. And I'm seeing the opposite. All I see on Twitter and gambling Twitter is guys saying, they're 80% over the last 20 bets or 70% over the last 50 bets. And all of a sudden they think they should be selling this information as if it's valuable now because they've been able to do that. And again, we know that 99% of bettors are negative lifetime, meaning they are in the hole. Less than 1% are profitable lifetime. Even less of that 1% actually is able to continue making a living gambling. That's the facts. And what I could also promise you is that less than 1%, they're not the guys producing all the sports betting content we're reading. So unfortunately, all the new people being introduced to sports betting, they're learning from losing bettors. That's like me trying to learn to be an electrician from a carpenter. It's not going to happen.
Well said, Gianni.
You need to go to someone who is actually doing that before you could learn to do it yourself. And again, where the state of the industry is terrible. But fortunately, and this isn't a promotion for Wager Talk or anything like that, but there are guys doing it right. And fortunately, we live in a capitalistic market where if you're good, you should stick around. If you're bad, you should be weeded out. And hopefully, the market does that, and people doing it right get rewarded for it.
Yeah, and Gianni, one of our listeners, and guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're live on Periscope and on our YouTube channel. One of the guys pointed out, Elliot, that these scumbags are still out there. It has changed. I want to, before we get into a lot of the tips, and we're going to talk about buying half points, we're going to talk about teasers, we're going to talk about parlays.
Buying picks.
What?
Buying picks.
Buying picks. Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about all of that. But before I get into that, I want to talk about, how it was back in the day. And, Carmine and I, we had, we opened up the newspaper in 1988, 1996. And in there are a whole bunch of 900 numbers. You listen to the radio station, it's a whole bunch of 900 numbers. And guys, there were a lot of people that were literally doing the following. Cost $200 to take a ad out in the newspaper, so that's $200. You put a 900 number, it's $200 for New York, it's $200 for Boston. So you've spent $400 on the Monday night football game, New England versus the Giants. Everyone in Montreal gets the Giants. Everyone in New York gets New England. You get 100 people call. Costs $400 to get 100 people to call. The next day, you have 50 people that are 1-0. You do it again, and you have 13 people that are 2-0. You do it again, and you have 6 or 7 people that are 3-0. You do it again, you have 4 people that are 4-0. You call those 4 people, you ask them each for $500 for your next pick. You've just made $2,000 on a $400 ad spend. That's how this industry worked.
Yeah, and listen, I fell victim to it as well.
So did Carr.
I was that 17-year-old kid that, got his ass beat by his dad because the cell phone bill came, So the health.
Yeah, I'm not even taking account sitting on the damn 900 number, nor am I taking into account the 3-1 guys that could be funneled back through, or the 2-2 guys.
For sure. I mean, I not only lost money betting those picks, but had to pay for them on top of that. So, yeah, believe me, I was one of the victims of those 80s and 90s, early 90s probably, scam artists. There's a lot of them now, man. Let's be honest. There's so many people out there that probably think I'm one. There's guys that are subscribers of mine that bought a week or bought a month that think that'll say he's a fraud. Even though I've documented winning 5 straight fucking years, that's irrelevant. They care about the week they bought or the month they bought. Again, those are the people you can't help.
Yeah, of course.
And unfortunately, they're going to have to eventually learn on their own.
Gianni, you go 3-1 on a Sunday, and the guy either parlays it and loses all his money, or the one loser is the night game, and he rolled all his money into it. PWI says there's never a time to buy picks. Do your own research.
That's so wrong. That's so wrong.
Let's talk about that, Gianni.
That is so wrong. Here's why. I'm the perfect example. I pay for information. That's what's afforded me this life. And not to brag, but coming from a row house where, we were broke and we were poor. I've gone farther than anyone would have bet when I was 20 years old. And I've done that through sports betting. And I could promise you it hasn't been by selling picks. That much I can promise you. I don't have to sell another pick and I'll be just fine. But with that said, I pay for information each and every day to be able to win. And how do I do that? By providing accounts for guys that win. That costs me money. That costs me time. That costs me risk. Because if one of these bookmakers decides to stiff me, I still have to pay the group that I'm betting for. So believe me, I pay for information. So as far as paying for picks, and that's just nonsense. What you shouldn't do is pay for losing picks. That is foolish. And too many people do that. And more times than not, unfortunately, it's the buyer's fault, not the seller's fault. And what I mean by that is if the seller's not lying and he's telling you he's 10-1 over the last 11 Monday Night Football games, and you think that matters enough to buy that 12th pick, that's on you. That's not on him. Because he's telling you he's 10-1 on Monday Night Football. He's not telling you I'm up for this month, I'm up for this year, I'm up for the last 5 years. Because I could promise you, there's not a single pick seller on the planet that is up money long-term that wouldn't let you know it. There's not a pick seller on the planet that's not up for the year that's not going to let you know it. Look, we're in March right now. How many guys are telling you what they're up for 2020? Come back in December. See how many of those same guys are telling you how much they're up in 2020. Again, it's as much as it's the seller's responsibility to have integrity, it's the buyer's responsibility to do their due diligence.
So well said. And we do our due diligence over at Wager Talk. I mean, guys, we get, and Gianni, you know this because you're intimately involved with what we're doing. Johnny last week was going through resumes of handicappers who want to join our site. I didn't speak to him on the phone for 3 days. It was absolutely unbelievable how many people, and we had a guy send in there, he's 80% over the last 7 years in NFL.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy to do.
But, guys, listen, the bottom line is, and it does bother me to a degree that people look at us and say, well, why would we buy picks from you? Why shouldn't we do our own research? Firstly, if you've got all day to do your own research, go ahead. Most people actually work during the day and then come home and have a family at night and simply can't do the research.
You can't win if you have that. If you have another job, Prez, you can't win.
How many hours a day are you handicapping during, say, November?
Honestly, I'm working from 5 a.m. till about 7 at night. So I'm putting in 12, 14 hours of working, firing bets, looking for inefficiencies, sharing information, gathering information. And that is just to hit about 55% long term. Yeah. Because let's kill the suspense right now. Because I'm going to tell you what I provide and what I think after being in this industry for well over 10 years and being a bettor for well over 30 years. I think this is the bottom line, how you should use a pick selling information. I don't think you should piggyback anyone blindly. I don't even do that. And I bet with for groups that I know proven to me win long term. But even with those guys, almost rarely will I blindly piggyback them. I urge people to use a pick seller as a source of information, like I do with those accounts. What those accounts provide for me is this. I'll log into it and I'll see they're placing these 15 bets today. Now, all I have to do is handicap those 15 plays because I at least know these guys are plus EV. They win long term. Now, some of these plays will be setups. Some of these will be middles. But out of those 15, there's going to be about 5 or 6 that are legitimate real moves. It's my job to uncover those and determine whether they still have value so I could bet them and share them with my subscribers. That's what I do. Yep. Now, I have 6 or 7 groups depending on the sport. So that means I have 50, 60 picks on some college football weeks. And then but I get to narrow down from those. That's what I urge people to do with my sub. Like 2 Saturdays ago, Prez, I shared 18 premium plays. But that was XFL, MMA, college basketball, NBA, NHL. So that's 5 sports, 18 picks. That's like 3.5 picks per sport. Not a lot. But I can't provide, obviously, write-ups for all of that.
Yeah. We were going to talk about that, Gianni, because you are one of the only guys on the site that doesn't provide that.
Quickly, here's what I wanted to share. Out of those 18 picks, I wouldn't urge anyone, unless they've been with me for 3, 4, 5 years and built up their bankroll and their profit like we have, to bet all 18. Instead, I would say you have these 18, now handicap those. You know I win long term. That's been documented and proven that I'm in that 1% that actually has found a way to be able to do this over and over again. So handicap from those. It makes your job so much easier. So as far as never paying for information, that's nonsense. Don't pay for losing information. That's the takeaway.
Gianni, let's get into some wager talk strategy. Kitty K, thank you so much for your remarks. That stuff means so much to us at wagertalk.com. It's tough times for everybody out there, and we're really trying to continue to communicate with you guys and to provide you guys with great information. And we have an opportunity now to do that. Tomorrow, Marco D'Angelo will be on the show, and look, we're going to be giving out promos. You guys can buy them. You don't have to buy them. I'm not going to get pushy or anything, but we all know that sports is coming back. And before we get into wager talk, wager strategy, I just want to let everybody know that right now, Gianni in 2020 is up 94% return on his bankroll. He's the #1 handicapper at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Last year, he had 44% return on investment on his bankroll. I think Warren Buffett was somewhere around 18%. So you should maybe send him some of your sweaty shirts or something so he can frame. The year before,
I didn't win every bet. I didn't win every day. I didn't win every week. And I promise you, I didn't even win every month. I can't do that. I wish I could, but I can't. That I could promise you. We didn't win every day, and we're still up all that money.
Yeah. Anyway, listen to this promo, guys. If you want to play Gianni, it's $199 for 30 days of his plays. That package will start when sports is back. It'll also include $100 of free wager bucks. But the best part of it is, if you buy that package, you are grandfathered into that price. So long as you remain a customer of Gianni's, you will be able to pay $199 every 30 days for his plays. The promo code is G199. Gianni, hey, mid-major Matt.
Prez.
What?
Most of the guys I have are with me long term. I don't put packages up every day because I don't even want to do that. I want the guys that at least understand our goal is to win long term. I don't want the guys that are looking for the next big pick or looking for the hot hand, because I know I'm not going to produce for those guys. For those guys, it's just a matter of time before they go broke, unfortunately, and I don't think I can help them. I'm more focused on the guys that are patient, that get it, that understand it's a process. I'm not trying to bullshit you. It's not easy, but with that said, it is possible. And what I like to say, my best example is this. 5 years ago, if you look at the price of Amazon from 5 years ago to today, maybe not today, I don't know where the stock market is. We know the coronavirus has upset it. But realistically, we know if you bought Amazon 5 years ago, it's worth more today. If you bought Apple, if you bought Google, all those companies we know are winning companies and are worth more today. But if you look at their charts, I can promise you they didn't go like this. They went like this. They didn't make money every day. They didn't make money every week. They didn't make money every month. They gradually go up. That's how winning sports bettors do it. There's no other way, Prez. I wish there was. I tried every way. I tried waiting for that one big pick. I tried narrowing it down to one pick a day. I tried everything. I've been doing it for 20, 30 years, trying to find an easier way. There isn't one, man.
Gianni,
grind's the only way.
Let's talk wager talk. Let's talk wager strategy. Before we get into that, I just want to say that if you have this much energy in bed, your wife is a lucky woman.
60-minute man.
60-minute man. That's what you call yourself? Okay. PWI, you ask, so what do we do in a losing month? How do we recover? I'll answer that question, Gianni, and then let's get into buying points and all of these other things. A losing month, there's nothing to recover from. We're betting 3, 4, and 5% of our bankroll at all times. That means as we lose, our actual individual bets go down in size. That's what ultimately protects our bankroll. And sure, what do we lose on a losing month? 15, 20% of our bankroll on an utter nightmare month. Usually a losing month, 7, 8, 10% of our bankroll. We just get it back the month after or the month after that. That's ultimately why we tell people over and over and over again, don't bet $500 random dollars on a play or $100 random dollars on a play. Bet 3, 4, and 5% of your bankroll. Go into the season or go into the year or go into your betting period knowing ahead of time. Hello, David Bean. Knowing ahead of time how much money is in your bankroll. That, Gianni, is one of the biggest points when you're teaching people how to bet. It has to be the number you're betting has to be relative to something. You just can't pluck dollars out of the air.
There is nothing more important than proper bet sizing based on your bankroll. Meaning, even with access to winning information, if you don't bet size correctly, the winning percentage becomes irrelevant. And what I mean by that is, I had access to winning information. I was getting Billy Walters' NFL before lines were moving as quick as they move and before every book copied each other. So our edge was humongous compared to what it is today. And yet I managed to go broke multiple times. In fact, I lost multiple bankrolls. I got bullshit jobs to rebuild bankrolls. I went through it all, dude. I went through throwing up. I went through praying to God, if he makes this extra point, I'll never, ever bet again. I went through all that. My goal is to have you avoid all of that. And if you're bet sizing incorrectly, where one bad day, one bad week, or one bad month could wipe you out, honestly, you're a mathematical certainty to go broke. Unfortunately for the gentleman that asked that, he's right. What if I buy your package because I see you're 20-5 over your last 25, and I buy your package, but now over your next 25 bets, you go 5-20. You could brag you're even over your last 50 bets, but I'm not even. Yeah. I'm 5-20. It's
one of the biggest issues of our industry.
So I get it, but I can't control when someone joins, how long they stay, or how they bet size. All I can do is try to win year after year, document every bet I placed at the number and the bet size so that bettors can see this is the road he took to make money, and realize it wasn't easy. There was a lot of losing in there, but you got to bet size correctly.
Let's get into that stuff. Navarez KC asks a great question. How do we get inside information? And I want to start there because there's really a myth about this inside information. What is it exactly? Gianni is not getting information out of the locker room that Tom Brady has an ankle sprain. The general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers is not calling Gianni. There are no referees discussing what they're going to do to Gianni. Inside information is a myth in the sense that how do you define it? Basically, what we're getting is what Gianni specifically is getting, and what separates him from a lot of the experts is who are the smartest gamblers betting. And that's ultimately what inside information is. How do you get it? You get it by knowing those people. And in order to know those people, they need to either use you as a runner, which Gianni spoke about at the beginning of the show, or they have to have respect for you. And an example would be, you know, there are a lot of incredibly wise, smart guys that have not figured out MMA betting, yet Gianni has. So they will trade information. You hear Brian Leonard talk about that on the baseball show. You know, Brian will bet Dave Koken's college football, and Dave Koken will bet Brian's baseball. And we as a group of people trade information and talk to information. You know, Gianni doesn't bet a lot of soccer, but he can count on Carmine for soccer information because he respects Carmine. And, you know, Gianni respects Kyle Anthony and his MMA. So the inside information, Gianni, is strictly sharing information with people you respect and having them respect you.
That's exactly what I have access to. It took me a long time to get there. And that is the value that I offer our subscribers. And most of my subscribers stay with me because they see that I'm putting them in positions that even when we lose, they see that they at least got the best of it. And meaning, I got them down on fighter A at minus 165. That line closes minus 250. That fighter loses. If you're a sharp bettor, you know he gave me that was gold what he got me on. If he can do that over and over again, I'm in the driver's seat. That's what having access to that 1% provides. And you nailed it, Prez. There is no, inside info. For me, now, real quickly, I originate 90% of the MMA stuff I share, and only 10% of it comes from other groups that I respect. Now, other sports, NBA, college basketball, NFL, all that, it's about 75% of the information and stuff I bet is stuff that those groups bet that I agree with and piggyback, and 25% is from me. But the MMA stuff, like I said, 99% I originate. And how did that happen? Because I proved I was able to win. A group stepped to me, poker, they're well known, bankrolled me, free rolled me, and said, we're going to give you $100,000 bankroll. You could start betting 2 dimes a game. and you get 500 of that. And that's how it started. That's
and
why
it's funny
a lot
because
of the stuff I give out,
two dimes a game.
they piggyback it and bet it everywhere. That's why you see most of the stuff I give out ends up moving that way.
Gianni, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. Let's go rapid fire. Buying half points, I never do. I'm radically opposed to them. It's something that a lot of people do. To give you an example, -3, somebody will go, it's -3.5. They'll buy that half point. That half point will cost them 20 cents. It's worth about 8. So as a rule, I never buy half points. Do you?
I have bought half points, so I won't say never, but I think what you're doing, your plan is correct. Because if you set a plan of always or never and stick to it, your decision becomes easy. And if you never buy half points, then you never have to even entertain that thought. If you do buy half points, you have to determine, when can I quantify that it's worth buying it? That's where the difficulty comes in. So for most novice bettors, I'd say never buy it. For guys that have proven to have an edge, meaning they have a history of winning long term, I think they have to be very selective. Myself, I'll do it on 3 occasionally. In NFL, when it's a discount, meaning if it's 3 -120 on one side, so I could buy that half point now at a fair price, I'll do it. But again, it's very rare, and more times than not, it's, because I'm getting a discount, not because I'm buying it at that 10-20 cent mark.
James, I think the virus came at a bad time for everybody. Gianni, let's isolate down to the number one thing you're looking for to make a bet. For me, and we've spoken about this again, if you have to say what is the absolute core priority, it's beating the closing line. Do you want to explain?
That's the goal. That's how that's how you can grade your bet before the event. And that's how I do it. If I bet a fighter at -150 and that line closes with that fighter -120 and he wins that fight, I made a bad bet. Unless some type of information or perception forced that move, more times than not, that wasn't a good bet. I simply got lucky.
Right.
And more times than not, that's the result of good luck or bad luck. Most bettors bet with no edge at all, Prez. That's the truth. That 4.5% hold that the book has is so difficult to overcome. Most never do it. Most are simply betting without an edge and win when they have good luck, lose when they have bad. But if you're beating the closing number constantly, in fact, that's how bookmakers label you a winner. Real quick, funny story. Last baseball season, guy gives me a baseball account. Says you could bet 500 a game through it. First 3 bets I put into it, they shut it off. Guy texts me, says, yo, account's closed. Calls me later. He says, bro, they don't want your action. It didn't even matter that those games later went 0-3 that night because he counted them as no action. He said, I don't even want the action. He just saw that within 5 minutes of me placing those 3 bets, the line moved significantly in my direction. So he figured, okay, this guy's going to continue to do that, get out ahead of me. I don't even want to deal with it. I'll turn him away. That's how bookmakers label you a winner, not by your results. I say it all the time. At Mandalay Bay, the video Gianni put out of me getting thrown out for playing blackjack, if you go ask my history there, I'm -45,000 playing blackjack, 44, something like that. So I've lost over 40,000 on that property playing blackjack, and they won't let me play blackjack because it's not the fact that I won money or lost money. It's the fact I pose a threat. Why do I pose a threat? Because every time I had an edge, my bet size increased. And they know if he's doing this at the right time, every time, as long as we deal him the cards, he's going to beat us long term. It's just a matter of time. So if you're able to beat the closing line, if you're betting -2.5 and the line's closing -4, and you're doing that over and over again, you're labeled a winner regardless of your result over those number of bets.
Yeah, and
you have to do that for a long time. You can't do that for 5 bets, but that's how you're labeled a winner, and that's how you can grade your bet before the result. did you beat the closing number? Because the closing number's always the most accurate reflection of what the real line should be, because all the info is factored in. The last day on Sunday of NFL, we know whether it's raining. We know who's injured. All those things are known. They're not known when the line opens. They are known when the line closes. That's what makes the closing line the most accurate reflection of the true probabilities of that sporting event's outcome. And being able to beat that makes you, doing that
right.
makes you,
so guys,
you're going to win long term. That's a mathematical certainty if you can do that.
That's the perfect way to end that topic. Guys, really to summarize, because we've got one loquacious, excitable dude with us.
I'll go out.
This is not about winning or losing. The winning will happen naturally. If your goal when making bets is to constantly beat the closing line, you will mathematically, factually be a winning bettor in the long run. It's not about what you like. New England plays the Rams. Who do you like? Who cares?
I don't even care. Honestly, Prez, I swear to you, I don't know my exact numbers. You could probably look, but I would say over the last 365 days, if I'm not number one, I'm in the top 3 or 5 of earning in the NBA and college basketball at Wager Talk. I'd say my profit is in the top 3. I haven't watched a college basketball game or NBA game this entire season. I swear to you. I haven't watched more than a minute, maybe flipping through the channel, and I'll see a score. I just don't have that time. And to me, it becomes irrelevant. I don't even want to be biased. In fact, we already know from eyewitness testimony is the least reliable. That's been proven in court. So why does it even matter what I'm looking at if I know that that's the least reliable thing?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way, Gianni. I mean,
I'm looking for the next winner. I'm looking for value. I'm looking for an inefficiency in the betting market. Yeah. I could care less what it's on, Prez. Unfortunately, I've done this so long, I hate to say it, I don't even like sports anymore. It's just that I'm able to beat it.
Speaking of which,
I love MMA. That's the only sport I've fallen in love with now because I originated, 90% of my picks. But the other sports, I could give a fuck. I'm sorry.
Nice to see all you guys joining us. Hey, Troy, yeah, we love newbies, man. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to like. And yeah, I mean, that's, it's so fascinating, Gianni, because you have all of these sports fanatics. Think they can beat the book. And to be honest with you, you don't need to know anything about sports to beat the book. You don't need to know anything about any teams, any players. All you need to know is beat the closing number.
And you do that by perfect or becoming an expert in quantifying value and determining which way the market's going to move based on biases and past history.
And it's funny because Drew Martin and myself both do a show throughout the year on Mondays. I do it with Marco. He does it with Teddy, where we actually take a look at the opening line report and let everybody know where those numbers will be at the end of the week.
Everyone should be doing that. When you place your bets, almost important as what bet you place. And I think that's key. Just as key as I always tell people, make your own number before you look at the board, because we're human, man. You're going to be biased. I mean, if I may make Team A favored, but if I look up on the board and the sportsbook automatically has Team B as the favorite, I'm biased in thinking Team B's the favorite. But if I first create my own line to compare to theirs, now I at least am going in with an idea of what the number should be. And if there's a difference, I got to decide who's right, who's wrong, and why.
Yeah, I mean, we're all running our own power ratings. Guys, make sure to take advantage of Gianni's 30-day offer. It starts when baseball or NBA or any of the sports begin again. It's $199 for 30 days instead of our regular price of over $300. Plus, you get $100 of wager bucks. And if you buy that package, you will remain paying $199 until you want it to stop. It's not on automatic renewal. You don't have to remember to cancel it, but we will honor that price forever. Gianni, MMA, is that the sport you are best at?
No, that's the sport I've made the most profit in over the last probably 5 years, 5, 6 years. It's been the most profitable for me because I've bet the most money. That's obvious. That's why I've had the most to make the biggest bet sizes has been in MMA.
Right. That makes sense. Same with Kyle Anthony. Gianni, you actually work for the UFC. Do you want to tell us about that?
I was their first gambling expert.
Gianni the Greek of the MMA.
Listen, it's not a secret out here who wins long term. Let's be honest, very few people do. If you do it, you get a reputation for doing it. I developed a reputation for winning in MMA. Somehow it got out there. I was approached to go on FS1 and give out 3 MMA picks for UFC. I did. It went well. I did it for 13 months and ended up crushing it for them. Then UFC goes to ESPN, so my gig's up with FS1. And a few months go in and they reach out to me and say, hey, we're going to create this show. We want you to be our gambling expert. Come on in. We're going to do a show and see if we could, sell it and get a bunch of episodes, what have you. I went in, I did that. They liked it. We got a good response. And then they offered me a 5-year deal to provide content, be their Vegas pick guy, what have you. So I've been doing that and I love it. Best company I've ever worked for. Hey, I love Wager Talk, don't get me wrong.
It's okay.
You guys are like family, so it's different. I know all you guys. With them, they were strangers. And honestly, I don't really know what the pulse is as far as how people feel about it, the UFC. But as far as working for them, they've been awesome, dude. Amazing company.
Yeah, and it's fun. Look, we got a lot of people on TV. It's really quite amazing. Kelly Stewart with her Bleacher Report. You're on TV.
How talented is she, dude? She's so talented. It's not just that. Kelly has so many. Her network is extremely sharp.
Oh my God!
I don't think people understand that. People say, she's very articulate. She's good on camera. She's an excellent host. She knows how to hold a conversation and ask good questions to make a segment good. But that's all great. You could learn all those things, I'm sure. But what she's done behind the scenes that I don't think people have realized is over the last decade, because I knew when Kelly broke into this industry, she's been growing a network of sharps to cover every major sport.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Kelly could reach out to people that win for every sport to find out what they like. And that is extremely valuable. I have nothing but praise for that girl. She deserves all the success she's getting. And more, I love seeing more women get into this space. I think women are more organizational. They're more detail oriented. I think they would make
so much harder.
Very successful
better skin
sports bettors and handicappers. I really do believe that. I think women would probably make even better sports bettors than men because I don't think their bias would be.
Yeah, it's such a great point. It goes back to what we were talking about. I mean, they're more clinical. They're more tactical. We're sitting there going, I know the Leafs.
It's like blackjack, Prez. I play it like chess, where there's a right move. Depending on what hand I'm dealt, what cards are out, how many cards are in the discard tray, I know there's a right move, whether it's stand, hit, split, or double down. Those are my only 4 choices. And you have to correctly pick the right one every time to have an advantage. You can't trust your gut. You can't do it on instinct. You can't do it on, I feel I'm going to win this hand. You have to just do the right move every time or your edge is eliminated. And actually becoming a winning blackjack player was what made me a winning sports bettor, because blackjack allowed me to see the long term very quickly. Because in blackjack, I could play 200 hands in an hour one-on-one with a dealer. So in 5 hours, I could make 1,000 bets in blackjack. To make 1,000 bets in sports takes a long time.
Yeah, it's so great.
By doing the right thing in blackjack over and over again, I saw, regardless of whether I won or lost some of my big hands, it was irrelevant. Long term, as long as I did the right thing, I was up money every time. So that opened my eyes. Believe it or not, that was that aha moment for me when I said, dude, you've been doing it wrong this whole time. You've been worrying about results. You've been sweating out the Monday night game or your 5-star like it really matters. It shouldn't matter. What should matter is that you made a good bet. You can grade that simply by looking at the closing number. Just keep doing that.
And you will win.
Don't do anything else. Just make good bets. And that's what I did. Because if you worry about results, you're screwed.
Gianni, it's literally the same with the stock market right now. You got a whole lot of people panicking and freaking out over the stock market. And the bottom line is, if you don't actually need to take money out of the stock market, what the hell is the difference?
Exactly.
Who cares that it went down?
That's what markets do. They correct themselves.
Right. And it's the same with sports betting. Gianni, I got a question for you before we get into that. James says, are you guys betting any esports or sitting on the sideline now?
No.
If you guys have been watching, one sec, Gianni, if you guys have been watching this show, I've been making fun of Vegas Dave because he's releasing archery picks and Uno picks and Scrabble picks and Jenga picks. We bet what we have an edge in, period. None of us shake when we don't bet. We are all more than capable of going days and days and days without making a bet. If we've got inside information, if we have an edge in esports, we would bet it. I don't, and I'm guessing you don't either, right?
No, listen, the truth is, it would be foolish for me unless information came. Yeah. Like I put on Twitter and I sent it out to subscribers about the Tom Brady prop. Someone I trust gave me information that he was almost 100% certain Brady's not going to stay in New England. And he said it's between Tampa Bay and the Chargers. I thought the Chargers just made more sense, so I bet it at 12-1. Yesterday, they were plus 150. So he put me on a great bet. That's a source I'm going to continue trusting. Even though Brady's not going to the Chargers, he got me on 12-1 bet that closed at plus 150. That's the kind of information I'm after because he was way ahead of the market.
Chris Johnson, Johnny will be doing a show with me next Wednesday. Gianni, tell us about the infamous $40,000 massage.
Okay, real quick. I was playing blackjack a lot for like almost a 2-year period, a 1.5-year period. It's funny. Blackjack's the only thing that the better you get in it, the less access you have to it. And what I mean is if you're a great poker player and you become an elite poker player, you'll be on the cover of Card Player magazine. Everyone will know your name. You'll be in all tournaments and shit. If you're a great sports bettor, you could monetize it easily. If you're a winning blackjack player, the only thing that happens is you get backed off. You're no longer is anyone willing to deal you cards. You're treated like a hooker that is in the casino that got 86. You're treated like the guy with slugs that cheated the slot machines. You're treated just like anyone else if you're able to win. So anyway, we're playing blackjack for a while with a group that we are advantage players. At Red Rock, if you're in the high limit pit, massages are free. You just tip the girl. They come back, give you a free back massage. So I was like, I want my massage. And the dude from ESPN that does the horses, that does the betting stuff, what's his name? You know him.
I know nothing about horses.
Well, anyway, everyone out there definitely knows who it is. Kelly even talked about him a few times before. The guy that does horses and gives Goldman, I think. Anyway, he was there. He plays blackjack. He was betting the same thing, $100 every hand, $100 every hand. And he was getting a massage probably for like 3 hours. I'm not lying to you. I said, no matter what, bro, I'm getting a massage. We were up a couple thousand, maybe 10, 20, I don't even know. It's about 11 o'clock at night. Everyone's like, let's go back to the room, bro. We're done for the day. We had a long day. We're up money. It's done. I said, dude, I'm not leaving without that massage. He ends. The chick comes to give me a massage. I swear to you, Prez, to this day, I still haven't seen that bad of a running of cards in a 30, 40-minute span in my life. We lost what we were up and like 40, 50,000. It ended up being a 70,000 negative session, all because of waiting for that massage. Worst event you could possibly imagine. The good part of that is it was so late, we all slept, pissed off, but when we woke up, it was like, we got a job to do, got to get out there and put the hours in. And fortunately, it ended up being a winning trip overall. But yeah, that one decision cost me dearly.
Gianni, you were part of a blackjack team.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. A guy approached me and said, listen, I have a system. I was hanging out in casinos my whole life, pretty much. People come up with me with systems and all kind of shit. But this dude was kind of sharp. He was pretty smart anyway. We talk. He tells me he has this blackjack system, what have you. I look at it. I find what I thought were the negatives to it. And he said, let's apply it. We applied it, had some success with it. But what I learned was what that system did was give us camouflage to actually count and play real advantage blackjack. So I dug in and I learned everything I could about beating blackjack. I could show you probably 15, 20 books that I've read 4 or 5 times each. Unfortunately, they all leave the one chapter out that everyone needs to know, but you have to learn on your own. And that's what I did. So I had to learn to do that. Make a long story short, we developed a team of about 4 people, and we traveled. And first we applied his system to give us camouflage, and then we went in there and just drilled them with a normal count and did a ton of damage, bro. We played Vegas till I got backed off everywhere. New Orleans, Atlantic City, Bahamas, Sofia, Bulgaria. I played everywhere, bro. Seriously.
Dude, I know.
And it was fun.
I know all these stories. I mean, you're the most colorful guy in the game, bro.
Made a lot of money doing it. It was a lot of fun. But if I had to do it over again, I'd do it differently. The mistake we made was taking advantage of all the comps along the way and all the promo chips. Bro, instead of having a host, we hired an independent host contractor who would call the casino and say, I got 4 guys. One guy's got a 200,000 credit limit on your property. One guy's going to deposit $100,000. One guy's going to deposit $200,000. Another guy's going to deposit $300,000. What are you going to give my guys? And they would say, we'll give them each a penthouse. We'll give them 2,000 in promo chips for every 4 hours they play. We'll give them tickets to this. We'll give them RFB, full room food beverage. He would close that deal before we even stepped on the property. And that's what pissed them off. That not only when they finally realized we were advantage players and not just getting lucky, then they really got pissed, because not only did we beat them out of money, but we took advantage of all their comps. And that was the mistake. I would love now, honestly, Prez, and I hope through Wager Talk that there's a platform that I could share this. I would love to teach people that are really passionate about beating blackjack to go out there and do it.
Let's do it 2 weeks from now.
It's still very beatable. And I honestly can arm anyone out there that could add, subtract, multiply, and divide. I could teach them how to do it. And all they would have to do is gain the actual playing experience in that setting.
Gianni, Gianni, I got to interrupt you. Let's do that show in a couple of weeks. Call that part 2.
Baby.
He needs a drink. Person on his left, he needs a drink.
April's still impressed that you, when we met for dinner that last time you were here with your girl and we said, what's up? Within 2 seconds, you guessed my cologne. April
Tom Ford,
still
baby. Best cologne out
extremely
there.
impressed. Extremely impressed.
Yeah, there you go. You get cologne advice as well. And yes, we're going to do a Blackjack show 100%. And, you know, Gianni, during that show, and we'll do it in a couple of weeks, let's talk about craps and roulette, Pai Gow, Caribbean Stud, and all of the games, because there's so many of us that play it. I like playing Pai Gow a lot. I'm a terrible Blackjack player, but, you know, and I'm actually pretty good at craps. Vivian and I go to Vegas and we play a ton of craps. So let's do a show on all of those casino games.
Yeah, my wife loves craps. She loves craps. The only thing is she just wants to roll.
Well, I just want to say for the record,
anyone else's roll.
Your wife is awesome. And this show is brought to you by Red Bull because clearly Gianni is on it. This is the first show I've ever done in 18 months where I'm the calm person.
Yeah, and you know what? People are like, he's a drug addict or whatever. I don't even drink.
No, I know you don't.
That's the funny thing. It's like, this is me calm. I can't help. I'm just
dude, I love it, man.
One of those guys. I can't help it.
Twatty Latte talks about the martingale, and we're not going to talk about the martingale right now, but Teddy is on the show next week, and he has an incredible, I mean, one of the best poker stories ever on his first week in Vegas. Moved there, and he used the martingale on his first week. Tune in to find out how that goes. Gianni, do you actually have a favorite team? Like, are you a fan at all?
I was yeah, you know what usually happens is before sports season, I'll pick a team or two to win the Super Bowl, the World Series. So that's the team I'll cheer in that year. But the one team that I kind of got close with where I became a fan were the Saints, because we were going down to New Orleans. My wife loves that city. So we were going down there a lot. In fact, that was the one casino, Harrah's, where I didn't advantage play because we didn't want to lose that privilege of going there and going to Saints games for free when we visit the property. Yeah, kind of Saints. But to be honest with you, from about 13, 14 years old, I had to take down the pennants and realize I'm going to be betting a team one week, fading them the next. So it really serves no purpose to have any loyalty.
Gianni, we're going to just talk for a few more minutes and then call it a day, but we are going to have you back in a couple of weeks. And what I want to do is I'll give everybody on Twitter a ton of notice when Gianni is coming back. Write down all your questions.
Yeah, I want questions, man. What you want to know from someone that's been in the trenches doing it at the lowest and highest levels for a really long time, man.
Literally write every question.
For a long time.
Right. Send us your questions. Email at support@wagertalk.com. I will have Gianni on again in a couple of weeks. We are in no rush. We will go through every single question. No problem at all. Gianni, at the beginning of the show, which was a while ago, you mentioned how you were involved with the NBA ref who was fixing the games. You want to tell us quickly a little about that?
Yeah, I mean, now it's well known. The group was from Delaware County, right outside of Philadelphia. I got into it probably around 19 years old, 20 years old or so, by one of my closest friends, Philly Godfather, who was hooked up with them and knew that I was booking. So he started betting me and he was winning. And I knew he was an Eagles fan, but he was betting me like Ball State and Eastern Michigan and shit like that and winning. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And then he explained, I'm getting info from these dudes. Can you find bookies? I said, yeah, I can find bookies, bro. So me and him started finding bookies. And next thing you know, we're in a row house in Upper Darby. And it's so funny, Prez. I swear to God, dude, every day around 6 o'clock Eastern time, an hour before the games would kick off, you'd see all these nice cars pull up to this row house in Upper Darby and go in there for like 2 hours, all work the phones, and then leave every single day. And that was our job. We were just betting. We weren't bookmaking. You know, everyone thought we were bookies, but we weren't. We were just betting, winning shit. But again, you know, that was where I was rich one week, broke the next. where I was getting the best information and just didn't know how to use it, unfortunately.
He's Gianni the Greek.
I broke in with them.
Guys, make sure to use the promo code G199. You get 30 days of Gianni for $199, and that price is locked in to you forever. It will not kick in until sports starts, but that offer is only available until midnight tonight. Gianni, we are 100% going to do another show. I have one last question for you, a question that's very meaningful to me. I'm just checking out my biceps. I don't know if you can see them. What's your favorite band?
Oh, I'm all over the board, bro. You'd be so surprised. I grew up, I'm an inner city kid. So I grew up with a ton of hip hop, but I mean older shit. I mean, even before like
Grandmaster Flash, Sugar Hill Gang, that type of stuff.
Like Sugar, exactly. And then then obviously with the Chronic album and
phenomenal.
When Snoop blew up with Dre and we were pre-NWA days. Then after that with Biggie, I was huge and I was all into that. And during that though, I would go to a Metallica concert, believe it or not. I grew up, my brother's older than me and he was more into classic rock.
Yep.
So I have a history with that. My wife loves like Sinatra, believe it or not, in like 40s and 50s music. She's so into that shit. So I've developed even a liking for a lot of that. I'm all over the spectrum. Like if you see what I listen to, it'll go from like rap to heavy metal to except country. Country's probably the only thing I don't like.
I actually can't stand country, although I do like, Folsom Blues and whatnot.
A couple songs, that's what I mean. A couple songs, like a Garth Brooks,
Yeah,
song.
Johnny Cash is probably the country I like the best, but I can't stand country music, and I love rap music. And, you and I have never spoken about this. I have no idea what's on your playlist. I played poker with Phil Hellmuth. I sat on his left for 6 hours.
Did you really?
Yeah, and he didn't say a word, but he was in his phone playing music, headphones on. He was playing music the whole 6 hours. And I was like, what are you playing? What are you playing? Like, I always want to know, what are you listening to? What is it? The Culture Club? Is it Rick Astley? Is it Leonard Skinner?
Yeah, but is it music or is it other stuff?
Calm down, Phil. Calm down, Phil. Calm down, Phil. Don't yell. Don't scream. Calm down.
Right?
Breathe. Just that constantly. Listen, my favorite band by far is Pink Floyd. It's not even close.
I'm a huge Pink Floyd Roger. I don't like Roger Waters' new stuff, but Pink Floyd, especially the Wall album, to this day, I'll still listen to it all the way through like it's an opera.
Yeah, well, and that it is. In all seriousness, if people put Pink Floyd on their headphones, listen to Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Us and Them, Brain Damage and Eclipse, you will find the most layered music you've ever heard in your life. The volume of the instruments are different. There's 6 or 7 layers. That's ultimately the problem with music today. However good Ed Sheeran is and Bruno and Taylor Swift and all of these guys, and however great songwriters they are, the problem with music today isn't the writing of the songs or the melody. It's the lack of texture, the lack of layers. It's very surface. All the instruments are at the same volume, and you can't really hear the music from a layered perspective. You listen to the females sing at the end of time in Floyd. They're not singing words. They're singing a bed of music that the rest of the music sits on. I am a Floyd fanatic, Gianni.
Wow, I didn't know that. And I believe me when I tell you, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, where I just listened to that for a few years of my life where I was really deep into Pink Floyd.
But dude, it holds. Like, in all seriousness, look, I was smoking the ganj and listening to Floyd with headphones on when I was 18 years old on the floor. You play it right now, sober, it's
still good.
It's better. Good. It's better because now you have 50 years of thinking, how could this be so good? And it's funny, Vivian and I talk about this all the time. There are very few bands on this planet that have such a distinct sound where no band has ever been able to create that type of music. Super
How's
Tramp.
Vivian doing, man? She's a good girl. I liked her right away.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
I'm a big fan of Vivian's myself. We played Scrabble last night. I kicked her butt. There, Vivi. Go ahead, Viv. Type in how you beat me the night before. That was so old. Such long ago news. But yeah, Gianni, I really love doing this with you, man. And we're going to do this again in a couple of weeks.
I'd love to, man. Anytime. And like I said, I'd love to set up some Q&As, man. Just for those guys that are really passionate about it.
Listen, I'll tell you flat out, Gianni, I'll commit flat out that once sports is in full gear, I'm happy to do a show with you once a week where people can call in. They can ask you about specific games. It could just be a complete Q&A. I would be delighted.
I don't care if it's just 3 people show up. Honestly, it's those 3 that really care. I hope I can help, to be honest with you.
Guys, part 1 of Gianni the Greek in the bag. I can't thank you guys all enough. I could talk all day with you, my friend, but we can't have a show sit on YouTube that's like 4 hours long. No one's really going to listen to the entire thing. Anything you want to leave us with?
Now, I just want to thank everybody for the support they continue to give. And, people that haven't been happy with results, if they jumped in at the wrong time, I greatly apologize, man. My goal is to win for everyone. I know I can't do that, but at least I've found a way to win year after year where you can trust you're getting winning information. And hopefully you can use that to either turn a profit or at least, become a more efficient, better sports bettor by seeing what guys that are winning are doing day to day. And again, man, my goal is to help people that are as passionate about this as I am, avoid all the misconceptions out there and avoid the guys that are claiming they're winning without showing you 1,000 bets, 2 years, 500 at least bets. Yeah. Let's at least straighten that shit out.
Hey, Minty is talking about she doesn't like or know Pink Floyd. Vivian's going to send her some songs. Listen, anybody who is getting introduced to Pink Floyd for the first time, please listen to them through headphones as opposed to on your radio. It's very important. This band was...
Start with The Wall, that album, The Wall, because it's more...
Well, it's done
commercial.
in quadraphonic sound, right? Like Dark Side, Wish You Were Here. These albums were actually produced in quadraphonic sound. They are supposed to be listened to with really good headphones. I also suggest lying on the floor, turn the lights off, and understand that it's not about the lyrics. The lyrics in Pink Floyd are the most incredible. Time, specifically the song Time, is the deepest and most profound lyrics you'll ever read by any song.
Comfortably Numb. I mean, I could listen to that over and over.
But the point is, a lot of these people, and Minty's younger than us, they're very used to music that has words from beginning to end. Shine On You Crazy Diamond is a 12-minute, 9-minute song, 12-minute song with maybe 2 minutes of words. Let it build, guys. Just let it build. That's it for us. Carmine will be listening to Nessun Dorma all day long. He can't get enough of that song.
Stay safe, everyone out there, man. We'll get through this. It'll pass. Things will return to normal eventually. Just do the right thing by yourself and your loved ones. We'll all be okay.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks, Gianni, and we are going to get a Q&A done with me and you. It's going to happen. It's going to happen weekly as soon as sports come back. Everybody, be safe.
Thanks for your time.
Sorry?
Thanks for your time, brother.
No problem. You can now go and drink some Red Bull. Everybody be safe. Stay inside. Sports is coming back, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m. with Marco D'Angelo for a show that I think will be a lot less informative, but a lot more funny. Because Marco and I just like picking on the guy, dude.
Yeah, Marco's a good sport, though.
Yeah, he's the founder of Wager Talk with me. The two of us have done this together.
I know we're signing off, but all bullshit aside, I've been here now 20 plus years in Vegas. He's one of the most decent men I've met. Like really decent, like inside. Forget all the others. Like is a decent human being.
Yeah, he balances me well.
Yeah.
I'm the Prez. He's Gianni. We're done. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, with Marco D'Angelo. Thank you. Yes, Minty, a 12-minute song. Be well, everybody.